Hello and welcome. This video is about metals and it addresses some of the higher tier content for GCSE chemistry. Now, I've touched upon some of these points before in previous videos, but I just want to tidy it up and just make sure that the higher tier content is fairly clear for this particular topic. So here we have a metal, and as you know, metals are very good conductors of heat and electricity, and you need to know why that is. And the reason for that is that metals have electrons in their outer shell that can move away from the atoms. That means these electrons are free to move, and we have a special keyword for them, and that is that they are delocalized. Delocalized electrons, that means that electrons that are away from the atom and free to move around, and that actually gives metals two very key features, and that's the ability to conduct heat and to conduct electricity. So let's just have a quick look at how that might show. Here we've got the atoms in a metal. As you know, they are in very neat rows and very neat columns, unless it's an alloy, which they might not be so neat, but certainly they are in this kind of structure. Now, if we look a little bit more closely, enlarge this even further and look more closely, we can see here we have all these delocalized electrons. These are electrons that are free to move around. Now, in terms of conducting heat, we know that when we heat metal, that the atoms are able to vibrate a bit more vigorously and bump into their neighbors. And if the atoms are in very neat rows and columns, that's very easy for them to bump into each other. If, however, there's an alloy, it's less easy for them to bump into each other, but we still have these electrons that are free, delocalized, and able to move around, and these are key in helping a metal conduct heat. So if we heat up a metal in this bottom corner here, these electrons can move much more vigorously, and they can bump into neighbors and cause those neighbors to vibrate also, and therefore allowing the heat to be conducted along the material. Okay, so that's the sort of brief outline of why metals can conduct heat so well. In terms of electricity, well, we know that electrons are the key part of conducting or carrying electricity through a material, and these flow through the material to carry the electricity. And all we do is, if we add a charge on both sides, we know that these electrons are going to be attracted towards the positive, and they will drift or move towards the positive, and therefore you will get a current flowing. Okay, so this is just a quick brief video, but it covers some points I've kind of covered before, but I just wanted to clarify those points. It's for the higher tier, and you need to be able to explain why metals can conduct heat and conduct electricity in terms of the free and delocalized electrons.